What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mask. I'm back with another video. So this time around, I'm doing a review. Like, it's been forever since I've done one. I most probably last one I did was like Expedition Conquistador or Ace Attorney or something like that. It's been forever, but hey, I'm back with some of it. And since I completed few games, I decided, like, you know what? Let's talk about those few games. For example, I did complete Pillars of Eternity on stream like a few months ago, and I was like holding on talking about it, maybe like making a good full-on review on how I felt about playing Pillars of Eternity and everything. Great game, by the way, for anybody who loves RPG games. Must try. Now, what is Pillars of Eternity? A lot of people will ask. Well, Pillars of Eternity is basically a rich and complex RPG that channels the spirit of the classic isometric games like Baldur's Gate and Planescape, if anybody has played any of those games. Well, I'm also playing Baldur's Gate with my good friend Rishu. We are on a break right now since Rishu had a breakdown on his PC, so if you guys don't know who he is, you can check down. I'll just leave a link to his channel down below. Anyways, basically this game invites you to delve into its deep lore and intricate story, tactical combat, stuff like that. So the game, while I love the game, it had positive and negatives of this game. So what is the positive of this game, one might ask? Let's begin with the storytelling and world building. Fabulous. I was invested in this game for, I guess, 30 odd hours that I played. Yeah, I played a lot of the game. Like, it's so much, way too much of Pillars of Eternity, and I never got bored of the storytelling and the world building the game had for it. It excels in like this deep and immersive world, and the lore is extensive with a well-developed history, culture, and religions in the game. The main narrative is compelling, exploring themes of reincarnation, soul manipulation, and moral ambiguity. I'm trying to keep this as spoiler-free as possible so you guys can have fun with the story, because the story is one of the most integral part of this game. It's very important because it adds some fine-ass writing, to be honest, and it also had well-crafted dialogues and a lot of memorable characters, and a lot of decisions we do take have meaningful consequences that affect the world and the story in significant ways. Now, that's one part of the positivity. So there is another part of the positivity, that's characters. Character development in this game is pretty goddamn good. Like, the party members are pretty well developed with their own backstories and quests. Yeah, characters like Eder, who's like a warrior, and Durance, who's like a priest who's conflicted with his inner thoughts and everything. And there is also the Devil of Karok, who's also somebody who's basically, it's a DLC character. It's from the White March, but it's still a character who is very well developed, and it has a particularly engaging and depth to the party dynamics, which is like, there's so many characters and it's your choice to which character story you want to develop and stuff. That's pretty cool to me, honestly. And another thing the game offers is customization in terms of character creation. We can choose from 11 classes. Each of it has its own unique ability. Each of them mix a variety of races, backgrounds, and stuff. And this all allows a wide range of playstyles and character builds, which is just amazing. I personally played the monk build, and I went for critical monk. I went for like critical damage and everything, and it was a great build, honestly, and I was like a frontline DPS and like really having an easy time with it. Well, there are points in the game where I'm going to talk about it. It was a pretty good experience in general. As for the combat system, it's basically a tactical pause and play, which is basically seen in old games like Baldur's Gate and Planescape, and you see that this pause and play combat on higher difficulties is very challenging as well as rewarding, and it requires proper strategic planning, positioning, and effective use of abilities. And AI can be adjusted, allowing you to like focus more on strategy, or if you prefer micromanaging, you can do that depending on your preferences. The encounters are pretty diverse with a variety of enemies that require different tactics to defeat. For example, let's just say like you're using a sword. Some enemies will be not vulnerable to slashing damage. In fact, they'll be invulnerable to that and will not take that much damage. Maybe they'll take 8 to 10 damage instead of like usually what you would have 20 to 30 damage. Or maybe some enemy is not weak to fire and weak to ice, and you're using a fire move and they are invulnerable to fire. It's no point using a fire move. It's amazing. It's great in the combat system. It's very micromanagey, but again, if you're playing an RPG game like these ones, micromanagement is one of the things you have to do. If you're playing on high difficulty, on normal difficulty, mostly you don't need to micromanage because I never micromanaged. I was playing on normal difficulty and I never really micromanaged as much. I did turn the difficulty down to easy at times, I will be honest, but there were times when I played on normal difficulty and I didn't need to micromanage much. As for the art and the atmospheres, one of the great things about this game is it's just amazing. The art style of some of the characters just looks so good, and the atmosphere in the whole game, the ambience, the soundtrack, it's just like you are in that world, that fantasy world of Aora that you're looking towards, and it's amazing in all sense of, well, whatever you want to talk about. Well, with all the positives that come, there are also negatives, and one of the things that I feel is really bad about the game is the pacing issue. Early game and end game feels pretty good. It's good, but that mid-game section, like those 10 odd hours that you waste on the game in the middle, it feels like a drag because it's just a constant read and lore entries that can just bog down the experience at times. And particularly this is for those who prefer like more action-oriented RPG. People who prefer lore-oriented RPG will not have an issue with this, but this is for somebody who like prefers action-oriented RPG, like someone like me who prefers like an encounter every like few minutes. Like maybe every 10 minutes I prefer to get into an encounter instead of getting into like maybe a hour-long lore reading. So that's basically what it feels like at times, just a drag where you just lore dumped in the middle at times. As for what is the difficulty spike is another thing when it comes to negative effects. Well, difficulty spikes. Generally, the combat is pretty decent in this game, I'd say. Every combat I had mostly was pretty good. But occasionally, there will be these areas where there will be a massive difficulty spike. Like, I remember being in White March and going into this eldritch lore shit of an area that I don't remember what the hell I went through. But that shit was hard as hell, even on normal difficulty. So that difficulty spike can really frustrate some of the players, especially those who are not familiar with the tactical and pause and play style of the gameplay. I was familiar with it and I was still having issues with it, and that just says like how tough the game can be at times. Some encounters can just straight up feel overwhelming and require you to go through trial and error to just overcome, because you don't know what is in store in that encounter. And there's another thing about the negatives is the character balancing. The character balancing of some of the classes is straight up bad, because like just say for example Eder and Alot are pretty well rounded. They can pretty much do a lot of things. Even though I never used Alot a lot, I came to know through like a bunch of wikis and stuff that Alot is actually a pretty decent character. In fact, I usually use Sagani because Sagani had a quest going on and I had to like constantly like spy. In fact, I never used that DLC character Zua, I think Zuka, something like that. That guy. I never used that guy, and he was a decent character, but I was already a monk, so I never like used him. And here's the thing, some of the characters just feel very mediocre. Like I said, Sagani is just weak in general, but when you put like someone like Eder, Alot, or even some monk in the party, it just becomes like very strong, you could say. And classes like Cypher and Chanter are unique and offer like pretty interesting mechanics, but they can also be less initiative to play, and they make it less appealing to the newcomers. So like, while, as you said, Chanter is singing and stuff, it's not really that big of a deal when it comes to it, but anybody who's like first time using a Chanter, let's say, and they look at all these things where you have to like place an ability according to like how the Chanter is going to sing. It might be overwhelming for anybody, any kind of newcomer. It's pretty tough to play like that. Another big issue with it is there is a very linear main quest. I did say there are consequences to your choices. That is a thing, but it also is pretty linear. By linear, which I mean is like the game does offer side quests and exploration, but there's a sense that the game is guiding you down just one specific path, which can limit the feeling of freedom that some players might expect from a classic RPG. Like, no matter what you do, you will end up at the same place. You will get different endings, depending on your choices, but you will always end up in that one same place, no matter what you do. A good example of a good RPG would be Fallen New Vegas, where everything matters, honestly. So, it had its negatives here and there, but I will say exploring the world and uncovering its mysteries is one of the most enjoyable aspects of the game, and the side quests often offer interesting stories and more dilemmas. Building and managing a stronghold that is Canua also adds a layer of strategy and gives you a sense of ownership in this world. And experimenting with different party composition and strategies in combat keeps the gameplay engaging and fresh for you. But there is also that slow pacing and extensive reading that can really put off a lot of players who prefer a faster and more action-driven experience. Like me, at some point I just got bored and stopped reading stuff. And some of the combat encounters can feel like a grind, especially if you're not invested to micromanage in every aspect of your party's action. Well, with all that, I still have my final thoughts to say. Pillars of Eternity is still a must-play for fans who love classic RPG with deep storytelling, tactical combat, and complex character development. However, it's not without its flaws, such as pacing issues, some character balance problems. And if you appreciate a game that rewards thoughtful play and immersion in a richly detailed world, this game is likely to be a great fit for you. If you're looking for something more action-packed and fast-paced, you might find it a bit slow and text-heavy. And yeah, mostly I enjoyed the game, I'd say. Well, that's just me. But again, it's your choice whether you want to play or not. If you're looking for a deep RPG, yes, this is for you. If you're looking for more action-oriented, fast-paced RPG, sorry buddy, go find it somewhere else. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next video, where I'll most probably talk about Hades, which is another game I completed, and I've never made a review on. Until then, peace out, boys.